Bearded Bear Podcast. Back at you again, Mike Reese. Along with me, as always, Angelo Pasquinelli. And we are here on a victory gloomy Wednesday. How you feeling today, bro?
I feel great. I mean, always love a win, right?
Gotta love a win. Honestly, we don't get these too often, and we haven't had a home win on a Sunday in a very long time since the Texans game of Week 2 last year, which is a game I was at. Uh, so yeah, it's been a long time.
Absolutely wild.
So jumping right into it, just getting some reactions from the Vegas game this past Sunday. Obviously, we know Tyson Bagent was the starter, and the Bears, to me, put together their best game of the season in all phases. Ended up winning 30 to what was the score? 30-6, right?
Yeah. Wait,
Uh,
no. Didn't
30
they?
to 12.
Yeah, they scored a touchdown late.
Yeah, a garbage time touchdown, 30 to 12. Just give me your thoughts on the game and Tyson individually.
So I got a couple thoughts. One is at the beginning of the game, I thought Devontae was going to cook us.
Yeah,
He
same.
he all of a sudden just disappeared. I don't know if that's a credit to the defense adjusting or because the Raiders have such poor coaching that they
Yeah.
just kind of took him out of the game.
Hmm.
Another thing is, hey, where has Foreman been all year? How do you have Travis Homer active over this guy? He's had easily probably the best or one of the best games as a running back this season for the Bears, and this guy hasn't played at all. Uh, to me,
Been
that's
inactive.
right. Been inactive. He's not even dressed for the game. Crazy to me.
Yeah,
The,
definitely.
the third thing I have is everybody in Chicago needs to calm down. It's been one game with Badgent as a quarterback. I think that they adjusted the way they were calling offense, and they definitely were very run. They always run heavy, but I felt like they were even more so. And because Foreman was able to run the ball like he was, and Evans also looked really
Yeah.
good.
Hmm.
So because they were able to run the ball so well, it was easier for Bajan to make throws. I mean, did he look good? Did he look poised in the pocket? Did he look comfortable? Yes. Did he play the Raiders? Yes. Now, I'm not trying to take anything away from this young man because this story is excellent that Division Two does what he does there. Always told
Yeah.
he's never going to play in the NFL. He gets to start. He wins his first game. That's awesome. And if he becomes something, I really hope that that's what happens. But Bears fans, you got to calm down. Don't get too
Yeah.
crazy yet. Mike, what'd you think of the game?
I'm definitely with you right there on pretty much everything you said. Actually, if you guys aren't already, go follow the Bearded Bear Pod on Twitter. I tweeted that out in the first drive of the game. I said if Tyreek is going to be on Devontae all game, this is going to be a long ass day because Devontae was eating. And credit to Tyreek. I mean, he was doing all he could do, and he battled. He fought hard. But Devontae is just a different monster. Like you said, I don't know if that's accredited to the adjustments or if Brian Hoyer is just like that bad. You know, because honestly, it was it was a little bit of both. Like Hoyer did not play his best game. Um, the second thing for me is as a team, the Bears finished with 173 yards rushing. So that goes right back to what you were saying. The game plan and the scheme, I think, worked so well that Tyson just wasn't asked to do much. And the closest scheme we've seen to this so far this year was the Packers game, I would say, where you saw a lot of the horizontal passing game, but they just executed so well on Sunday. And I don't know if you heard, but Cole Kmet was talking about how the Vegas defense was just gassed. Like the first play, after like the first run play of a drive, and they were getting gashed for like 7-8 yards. You can just tell that this wasn't the same team as the week before.
Right.
So that's just taking so much off of Tyson as far as asking him what to do. Just going through his numbers real quick, he finished 21 of 29 for 162 yards and a touchdown with a quarterback rating of 97.2. And like you said, a lot of people do need to relax because 162 yards is not something to like go crazy about. But I just think he was very efficient. He looked calm. He looked confident, and he put his trust in his skill players, which is something I think a lot of people have been wanting from Fields, which is why you're getting this craziness.
Yeah, yeah. One other thing I got to say that I wasn't really sure if it was the game plan, but I don't think Komet caught a pass.
He
Correct
didn't.
me. Yeah. So I feel like if you're paying a guy that kind of money, you expect him to be involved. Now, blocking wise, I'm not really looking at him blocking all the time, but I'm sure he had a lot to do in the game plan for that. But I'd like to see him get involved a little bit more. I think he's a highly, I don't know, I'm pretty high on Komet. I feel like he could be a big offensive weapon for us. And I just feel like they don't use him enough. Some games they do, some games they don't. He just like disappears. Use him in
Right.
those in between yardage situations, especially for a guy like Badgent who needs a safety net. That could be Komet.
Right. And honestly, that was the surprising thing to me. So before the game, I actually put a bet in for Komet to just get 2 passes. And of course, that's like the only leg to miss. But going
Wild.
deeper, right? Going deeper than that, though, you would think, okay, Bajent, young rookie QB, let me go to my 6'5" security blanket tight end. But hearing Komet speak, even he thought he was going to be a bigger factor or part of the game plan going into the game, but he was just saying the way the game fell out and the way Vegas played him, it just didn't end up that way. But I'm right there with you. The only tight end to even catch a pass the entire day was Mercedes Lewis,
A dude,
which is crazy.
a dude who's like 40 years old.
No exaggeration.
Uh,
And he almost scored on that play too, which is even crazy.
yeah, I like seeing that. At least he's putting in the effort. Something else, I thought the offensive line played real well. I
Mhm.
expected Bajan to get sacked quite a few times. I know Max Crosby got back there once, but uh, the offensive line looked competent.
Yeah, I,
So
I like that lineup.
again, is it the adjustments of the play calling, or is it because we were playing the Raiders? That's
Yeah.
all something I guess to look forward throughout the season. But I agree. I like that lineup on the offensive line seemed to be the most coherent and cohesive.
Yeah, I tell you what, man. Tevin and Darnell on that right side, if they keep it like that and they can continue to grow together and obviously stay healthy is the biggest thing there. I think you have your right side pretty much sewed up for years to come.
Yep.
Uh, like you said, Max Crosby, rather people have been watching him or not. I know he's in Vegas. That's not like a crazy team to watch, but he's been playing every single down for going on 4 games now. And he's just a nonstop motor. He plays the run and pass extremely well. And he provides a lot of different difficulties that edge rushers we face this year haven't. So for them to only give him 1 sack, well, give up 1 sack to him, I don't know how many like tackles he had or anything like that, but his impact was very minuscule. I'm right there with you. The offensive line was pretty encouraging.
Yeah, that was very fun to watch. It's weird to say as a football fan, I'm looking forward to watching their offensive line. That's that's a little weird to say, but I mean, it was very lifted my hope, for the rest of the season.
Yeah. Of course, we got to talk about your guy, Jaylon Johnson.
No,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. That's your guy. I want to make it known. If you watch the last episode, Mike said, pay him his money. And the exact words Mike said was, he doesn't have enough interceptions, and that might be the problem. So what does Jaylon do? He listened to the podcast, and he went out, and he got 2, and he took one to the house. That's
He
Mike's
did.
boy.
He did. All right. Let me be clear real quick. I like Jaylon Johnson. I think I said pay him.
You did.
But the production, hey, hits, the T in hits is literally the ball. So, which is dumb as hell, but it is the ball. And when you're a shutdown, lockdown corner and you're not getting interceptions, it is hard for you to get paid like that. Like, it's hard for you to get paid like Trevon Diggs when in his 2 years, he has 12 times the amount of interceptions as you. Now, granted, he's a different animal, but still. But he does go out. He gets 2 picks. He takes one to the house. He's taking off the helmet, saying, "Pay me." Like I'm here for it. I love it. Before we get into his numbers, just where are you at with? Do you think they should pay Jaylon Johnson, and where are you at like numbers wise? What do you think he should get?
I mean, I don't think he should get a Diggs kind of contract. The problem with the NFL is this guy makes more than me. I want to make more than him, so I want to be the highest paid corner.
Right.
Do I think he should be? No, I think he should be somewhere in the mid range. I guess
Is he better than Darius Slay to you? Because I think I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but I think Darius Slay is like in that tier right under like the top Jalen Ramsey guys. And I want to say he's like in that 16-15 range. So would
Yeah.
you be comfortable paying Jaylon Johnson the same amount of money that Darius Slay makes?
I think Darius Slay is better than him, but there is always that, like you said, that range, from 15 to let's say 30, they're all kind of getting paid the same. So if Darius Slay's 15 and JJ's 22, I guess I'm still cool with paying him that money. I feel like Slay does have more turnovers,
Yeah.
but he's got a better line playing in front of him. He's got a better linebacking core. He's got better coaching. So if you're going to tell me next year we pay JJ that kind of money, and next year they got an edge rusher in free agency and someone in the draft, and their line is much, much better, he's going to have more opportunities because people are going to be getting hit as they're throwing the ball. The ball's going to be laying in the air. He's going to have more opportunities.
Yeah, just the pressure in general for sure. And that's always been my argument for paying Jaylon Johnson. I think we touched on it a little bit last week. Look at last year, who was opposite of him? Kyler Gordon, who was a rookie. Look at this year, who was opposite of him? Tyreek Stevenson, who's a rookie. He didn't even have Kyler for the first 5 weeks. So on top of that, I'm going to read you some stats. So far this year, he has 3 pass deflections, 2 interceptions. He's the highest rated cornerback on PFF right now. He's holding opposing quarterbacks to a 43.5% completion rating and a quarterback rating of 22.
Damn.
So he's been shut down for sure. And he's 24 years old on top of that.
So, I mean, he's only going to get better. And like you said, with the 43% completion percentage, I think that's like 4th in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, man. How are you not going to pay a guy some kind of money for that? I mean, if you're basing it off, because you can't just purely base it off turnovers, because Diggs is a turnover machine, but he also gives up a crazy amount of yards. Like he lets other people score on him because he's a ball hawk and he goes after the ball. So if you're going to take his turnovers, but also all that other stuff into account, you got to pay the guy, right?
Yeah, I would think so. And where I'm at with it is I'm right there with you. So you pay JJ, you go into the offseason, you thoroughly improve that defensive line. You're creating pressure. You have a more experienced second year Tyreek Stevenson, who I also think will be a baller. And now maybe Jaylon next year he has 6 picks. Now that ball hawking is starting to show up. But for me, I'm kind of with you, man. Like I go back to last year's game that AJ Brown, when he was just taking like personal vendettas with these top receivers, and he was holding his own, man. And this year you're holding quarterbacks to a 22.2 quarterback rating. I'm taking that any day.
Right. And
you're not getting the picks, but they're also not getting completion. So
it balances out. I feel that way. And then also too, you already have enough holes to fill. You need some more help on the line. You need another wide receiver. I feel like you need another wide receiver. You don't know what's going to happen when it comes to the running back situation in the future. You know that Eddie Jackson is probably done with the Bears, so you're going to need another safety. You need help on the line. Why would you get rid of a guy who's a number one corner and have to find another number one corner when you got all this other stuff you need, and possibly even a quarterback? So why not pay the guy and keep him? Because you know what's going to happen. He's going to go somewhere else and he's going to ball out, and we're all going to be pissed that the Bears didn't pay him.
Yeah, but also playing devil's advocate here. I mean, this regime didn't draft Jaylon Johnson, and we know how that works with the quarterback, but I tend to believe that works with every position. I looked last year, Roquan Smith, right? So they drafted Tyreek Stevenson, they drafted Kyler Gordon, they drafted Terrell Smith, they picked up Josh Blackwell. Like, these are all their guys, and I'm with you. Whoa. I'm with you. I think Jaylon Johnson is probably a cornerback one in this league without the interception numbers, but I just tend to know how that works, man. Like, you get rid of Roquan because he doesn't fit the system, right? He goes to Baltimore, immediately makes his first Pro Bowl. We get Edmonds in here, who, granted, tackling wise, he's not up to like Roquan. And how I'm trying to say this. To me, Roquan's a better linebacker, period.
Yes. Yep.
But Edmonds fits what they want to do. And he has 2 games now back-to-back with interceptions. Like, can we really argue with what they're trying to build? So if they come to you and like, hey, we like Terrell Smith, we think, what the heck? That's somebody outside. we like what he's doing, and we drafted him to eventually take Jaylon Johnson's place. I'm gonna let you talk while I close that window.
All right. I feel like what Mike is saying is true, could be true, but I feel like it's so hard to lock down a number one corner in this league. I think of all the number one corners like the Patriots had. You know, Ty Law, Asante Samuel.
Oh, you're going way back.
Stephon Gilmore, Darrelle Revis when he was on the Jets. Those teams always made the playoffs. And I'm not saying it was obviously Brady was there, but think about Darrelle Revis. They made the playoffs as the Jets. Mark Sanchez was their quarterback. Their defense was tough because no one could throw to that side. If you can't throw to one side and you're limiting yourself to just one side of the field, that all that does is help the defense out. It just makes me nervous because, like Mike said, if they do go that way, hey, we didn't draft this guy, we drafted someone to replace him. We never know if that guy is going to be a number one corner. Yep. That's what they're hoping for, because they don't want to pay this guy. They'd rather let him go and stay on the cheap and make sure that this new guy is going to be the guy. But we never know if that's the case. Injuries happen. Things change.
Yeah.
Coordinators change.
Yeah.
Head coaches change.
Yeah.
I mean, if that happens and they go with a totally different scheme, Mike might be right. If they get a new head coach with a new defensive coordinator and Jaylon Johnson doesn't fit that guy's scheme, Jaylon Johnson might actually be gone.
Yeah. So they put themselves in a situation where it's okay. Is JJ beneficial enough that no matter what, he's going to be here? And if that's the case, you pay him. If not, I think you have to trade him by next Tuesday, because in free agency, he's just going to leave for nothing.
Absolutely. If they do not trade him, I think Poles has made some questionable decisions. I like Edmonds. I think that they overpaid for Edmonds. He's not living up to what maybe I expected him to be, because what he did as a Bill, I expected him to kind of come in and do that same thing. And there's a learning curve, right? I get that. But this will be a huge mistake if he does not trade him and lets him go in free agency. It's probably one of the stupidest things he'll have on his record, being the GM of the Bears.
Now I'm with you, man. I'm all in. Pay him, man. Pay the guy.
Right.
We're not gonna go as deep with this next one, but Darnell Mooney, he's in the same situation. Just on the year right now, he has 14 receptions for 184 yards and 1 touchdown. His numbers are not great right now. That's your dog.
Yeah, it's probably Sam playing with the dog.
But what I will say is Darnell Mooney, I think his impact goes a lot farther than what he does on the field. I think that receiving room really respects him. I think him and whoever the quarterback is moving forward, but let's just say Justin, because that's who it is right now. Him and Justin proved in the past that they do have a connection and some chemistry there. Darnell is a great guy in that locker room. And honestly, I think if you get a good number two out there, or hell, Marvin Harrison Jr., who develops into Jamar Chase, and you have a crazy one out there now. Mooney in the slot is tough, man. And he's quick, he's fast, he's reliable, he knows the route tree. If he's asking for, let's say, I can't even think of number threes right now because there aren't that many. But if he's asking for just average receiver three money, I think you keep him around, man.
I guess if he's asking for average wide receiver three money, I would keep him around. But he is underperformed so much this year.
Yeah.
He went from being he has 1,000-yard season. He went from being in talks with Bears fans to being the number one guy to just every year like getting worse. I know the quarterback play isn't great, and that's part of it.
Yeah.
But when you got DJ Moore literally going off for 230 yards in one game, and Mooney doesn't even have 200 on the season, hey, man, that is rough. And I know we're comparing a number one to a guy who could possibly be number three, but I'm just saying if a guy can have 200 yards in a game and in, 7 games?
Yeah.
In 7 games, you can't have 200 yards? I mean, that's crazy.
That is rough.
There's got to be some wide receiver threes out there that have more yards than Mooney has, and they got to be getting paid way less than him.
Probably he's still on his, rookie deal, so he wasn't the highest draft pick, but I tend to agree with you. Like receiver threes, I got paid. Tyler Boyd is probably the first one I could think of. But in his defense, you can also argue, okay, last year he got injured. He was having a solid year last year. He got injured. There was no number one to take the attention off of him, really. And this year, the offense has kind of been a train wreck. Like some weeks is good. Then you have the Washington game where DJ went crazy and Fields actually missed Mooney twice. I even think in last week's game, Tyson had Mooney for a touchdown when he threw it out the back of the end zone.
Yep.
I think he might have just got like a little flustered, but there's been opportunities where Mooney has been open and the ball just literally didn't get to him. Now, granted, I understand this is a production league and the numbers talk, the stats talk. But if I'm a GM and I'm looking at this and I'm like, you know what? Mooney's definitely not a 1. We all know this. I personally don't think he's a 2, but I think he can be a high-end 3. And if you can get a dynamic 2, or like I said with Marv, you have the DJ, whoever combination, Mooney should be able to feast out of that slot.
Oh, I think
feast,
so.
man.
I think so.
Edelman, Cole Beasley in his prime.
Okay.
I think keep that guy around.
So here's a question. So someone like, we'll use Velus Jones because he's on the team. He's got a $5 million contract that breaks down to 13 or 1.3 million a year. You paid Mooney that money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we go farther up, we go to like Michael Pittman Jr. He's got an $8.6 million contract, breaks down to 2.1 million a year. You pay him that contract?
See, Michael Pittman is still on his rookie deal though. He hasn't gotten paid yet.
True. How about
that value right now for him in particular is like insane. He's going to get paid.
How about Calvin Ridley? Calvin Ridley's got a $10.9 million contract, breaks down to 2.7 million a year. That's what Calvin Ridley's making.
That's crazy.
Right. So you know that he signed a contract to be on the Jags. Would you pay Mooney that kind of money?
No. Well, see, it makes it difficult though. Wait, what is his contract? Is this a new deal?
Let's see. Where's it at?
Dude, there is no way the Jags have Calvin Ridley for $2 million a year right now.
Yeah, that's what it says. It says total value average per year. Because like the number one receiver is Tyreek Hill.
Right.
120 million, 30 million a year.
Yeah, he's definitely getting that shit.
Oh, here's Tyler Boyd. 43 million,
Mhm.
10.7 million a year. You are not paying Mooney that.
I am not. You're right. You are correct.
I
But
don't think anybody's paying Mooney that.
well, no, probably not. But at the same time, the Bears salary cap is just like a different story than everyone else. Like they have so much money to spend. It's one of those situations like with JJ, honestly, where it's like, dude, you have a good player in the building that's respected in the locker room and knows what's going on, and he has chemistry. And honestly, he showed flashes last game. I just think you keep him around, not for Tyler Boyd money. So he's getting 10.
Yeah.
I would be willing to give Mooney probably somewhere between 6 and 7 a year. If it's me. And now if he doesn't want to take that, hey, that's on you. Good luck getting it somewhere else. But if you're saying like, yo, I'm gonna give Mooney 4 years, 26 million total.
So if we're talking 6 or 7 a year, I'll just name off the guys who are getting 6 to 7.
Mhm.
Darius Slayton, Jalen Waddle, Allen Robinson, Robert Woods, Jamar Chase, and Zay Jones is getting 8 million a year.
So Jamar and Jalen Waddle are both on rookie deals. But so you wouldn't pay Mooney what Allen Robinson's making right now.
No, I would probably go a little farther down and pay him like 5 million a year. DJ Chark, Cedric Wilson, Kendrick Bourne, Devontae Smith, Garrett Wilson. I mean, Khalif Raymond. There's a lot of guys on rookie deals, but Devontae Parker is one of those guys. Kendrick Bourne's been in the league for a while. DJ Chark's been in the league for a while.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I guess I'm okay with 7 would be my top, but I'm going
Mhm.
to try and hit him with 5 and negotiate. Like I don't want
Yeah.
the problem is you don't want to go in and say 5 and then be like, nope, I'm going to go to free agency. Like
Yeah.
5 is what I want to start at, and I want to see where you want to go, because you
Right.
you don't want to get in a situation like with Christian Kirk where you overpay for like a crazy amount of money and he
Terribly.
just doesn't perform. Like I
Yeah.
understand you have the money, but we should be paying guys like Jaylon Johnson who is performing right now. And if we have to go find another number 3, then we might have to do that. But
Yeah. And I'm with you. I'm like 50-50 there, because if I'm Mooney and I'm like, you just offer me the same contract as DJ Chark, like I need more than that. Just based off the fact, like, dude, I've had 1,000-yard season before. Like, I'm somewhat of a proven receiver in this league. DJ Chark is like paid off of strictly potential, in my opinion. Like, he went to Carolina, got paid, and they like, yo, we need receivers. So
yeah,
so honestly, they kind of wasted their money there. And like you said, with pay JJ, if not, we can go find a number 3. Well, you already need a number 2. So if you get rid of Mooney, you let Mooney walk out that door. You know the holes that they need on this offensive line, defensive line, safety. You're just adding another hole. Now you need 2 receivers instead of just 1.
that's true. That's a good way to put it. I guess it all just depends on how much Mooney's looking for and how much the Bears are willing to spend. I just
Yeah.
don't want to overpay him too much. Like
Yeah.
I guess it also depends on his contract. Like, is he gonna want to sign? A lot of these guys want to be locked in for a while, but
Yeah.
like the Bears might be like, "Hey, we want to do a 3-year, $21 million contract. That's $7 million a year." I mean,
Right.
I feel like that's pretty generous
That's solid. Yeah.
for a guy who's only had 1,000-yard season.
Yeah.
You
I'm
know,
with you. You start at 5. I mean, that's what negotiating is. Rather
right?
it's the NFL or at your local grocery store. Like, you start small. Well, obviously not the local store. You get what I'm saying.
The
You start.
the swap meet at a swap
Yeah.
meet.
Yeah. There you go. You start small, and you guys talk. You meet somewhere in the middle. Boom. That's what it is. So I'm with you somewhere between 5 and 7. Like, I would be comfortable with that. And I think you lock Mooney in for 3 to 4 years. you got yourself a nice solid 3. Like, go get you a 2 or like a super crazy Jamar Chase 1.
That would be
Or just
insane.
trade for Justin Jefferson. Fuck it.
Done. I'll do that.
All right. So jumping into this Chargers game.
Woo.
So before I even read any stats, like how are you feeling about that game?
All right. The Bears got a chance, in my opinion, in this game because their defense is just like average. Kind of like the Raiders defense. Their offense, though, is way, way more powerful than anything we've probably seen in the last couple weeks. If they go down by 14 points at the beginning of the game, they're going to be in trouble because their plan is to run. And if they can't run the ball and everything relies on Badgent, unless he has like a crazy game, I think they will lose. Justin Herbert, he's not the team itself isn't having a good year, but Justin Herbert is having a good year. You got to get pressure on Herbert, otherwise he's going to carve you up.
So Herbert is having a I don't know what to call it. To me, it kind of seems like a defense has kind of figured you out year. So he still has his flashes where he's this, excuse me, franchise quarterback, but he also has had his struggles. So the last 3 games, last week against KC, he was sacked 5 times. Get pressure for one. And he had a QBR of 47.6. The week before that, it was 57.5 against Dallas. Granted, before I say this last one, those 2 defenses are way better than ours.
Right.
But 3 weeks ago against Vegas, who we just played, it wasn't a win, but his QBR was 44.4.
That's wild.
Which is not good because Tyson's was 70.3 last game. So I definitely think they have a chance, but I'm right there with you. If they don't get out to a lead, or remember this game is in LA, which is technically at home, and they get out to a little lead, you're playing from behind now, and we haven't seen Tyson really drop back and throw the ball downfield. So we don't even know if he's capable of throwing the ball to come back from behind. Like I said earlier, 173 yards rushing last game. Like usually if that happens, that's like a formula for winning.
Yeah.
Except last year. But I will say that Chargers defense gives up 406 yards per game right now.
Yeah, I mean, they should be able to run on them. One thing I do want to say, though, is you got to remember when the Chargers and the Raiders play, that's an interdivisional game. So they play each other a little bit tougher.
Yeah.
Even though I get what you're saying, on paper, the Raiders defense is not good.
Right.
But for some reason, they seem to play each other better. But could you be right about Herbert? Yeah, probably. They got a new offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore. So, and he's hurt. And Eckler just came back like a game or so ago. So he's still getting his feet underneath him. They lost Mike Williams for the year, I think, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, really, you got Keenan Allen. And if JJ is another test for JJ, if JJ locks down Keenan Allen, they have a good shot of winning.
Yeah. So this is what I want to say. This is going to all like tie in together. The defense, the past 3 games, I'll say 3 games. We can all admit, and even the numbers don't lie, they've been better.
Mm-hmm.
But in those past 3 games, you've had Sam Howell, which honestly, Sam Howell moved the ball on them, but they were getting pressure, whatever. I'm not taking that from them. Kirk Cousins and Brian Hoyer, right? This would be the first really like dynamic Pro Bowl quarterback that they faced since that improved came. So what I'm looking forward to is, can Eberflus find a way to?
That's crazy, man.
What? That is crazy.
It's just crazy to think of that because I feel like the last 2 games after Minnesota played the Bears, Kirk Cousins has been balling out.
He has, yeah. And that's what I was going to say. I'm not taking that Minnesota game away from them. To me, that was their best performance. Because even if you look at the Vegas game, like Brian Hoyer was terrible, dude. Like he was throwing the ball all over the place except to his guys. Like he was so bad.
Why O'Connell didn't play, I don't understand that at all.
That's why McDaniels is out of there.
Yep.
100%. You always give the young guy a chance. but they held Kirk Cousins in check, man. The same Kirk Cousins and the same Minnesota offense that I just watched move the ball up and down the field on San Francisco Monday night, get a win. So credit to the defense for playing better.
Yep.
But they have not faced a quarterback like Justin Herbert, even though he is injured, and Keenan Allen. I mean, if I'm the Raiders, if I'm the Chargers, I'm looking at last game like, yo, Devontae was having his way early. We didn't really see Tyson throw the ball downfield. Okay. Asante, you get up on DJ. We're pressing. Joey and Khalil, you guys have your way and make Tyson beat us. But that run game is not beating us. Offensively, we're isolating Keenan and we're following that same first drive formula until they stop it.
Yep.
So that's what has me concerned. Also, Austin Eckler's in the backfield, who can also catch out the backfield as well.
Also, Khalil Mack's playing the Bears. You know he's going to want to try and go off on the Bears. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he has a good game against Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, to him, it's like, okay, I was too old to play for you guys still. Watch this.
Right.
And Darnell's on him. So, and honestly, you can't really help either side because they have dynamic pass rushers on both sides. I'm more so scared of Larry Borom on Joey Bosa.
Yeah, Borum's going to get beat up probably in this game.
Like, that's going to be rough.
But again, you know, you're right. The last dynamic quarterback that they faced is Patrick Mahomes, and it was 42-10.
That was horrible.
Right. So, I mean, it's almost like the tale of two teams because, like, they show up last game, they play really well. Then they go and they play Minnesota, and they have a tough time. Even though the defense played well, the offense played like garbage.
Mm-hmm.
So the offense plays like garbage in this game. They're cooked.
Yeah.
Herbert, again, you got to get pressure on these guys. You see what Mahomes did with no pressure. If Herbert gets no pressure on him, he's going to do whatever he wants. He'll find Keenan Allen eventually. He'll find
Gerald Everett.
Quez Watkins. Is that the other dude? The other wide receiver? Rookie?
Quentin Johnson.
Yeah,
TCU kid.
Yeah, he'll find him. He'll find these guys. And like you said, worst comes to worst, he's got Austin Eckler coming out of the backfield. He just dumped the ball to him.
Yeah. So with that being said, three things here. What do you expect from Tyson this game? To me, a little bit better defense. What is your prediction for the game? And give me like a bet you have for the game. Someone that you think is just going to stand out.
Okay, I will say I kind of want what I expected from Tyson last game. Play smart, no turnovers. You look very, very calm, composed, and confident in the pocket. I want to see that again because now, like you said, there is two premium pass rushers in this game. So he's going to get a little more pressure on him. I want to see how he looks during that.
Yeah.
My prediction for the game would probably be I'll probably go like 31-21 Chargers, unfortunately. Yeah. I think they're going to be able to move the ball quite a bit. And again, I think the Chargers defense is like pretty average. So I think they can move the ball. The problem is they like to run the ball a lot. And if they're getting stopped in the run game, which I feel like Mac's very good at, so is Bosa, and they got a bunch of other guys who are good at stopping the run. They're forcing people to throw the ball on them. And if you throw the ball on them, you could beat them. But if you can't, you're going to have a problem. And like you said, we don't know if Badgent's got that arm. And we know that they put Peterman in to throw a Hail Mary, which is basically telling you he doesn't have that good of an arm. So you're right. That worries me a little bit.
Yeah. Who's your fantasy star of the game?
My fantasy star, it's hard to say, man, but I'm going to go. It's just an easy pick, man. I got to go Austin Eckler. He's going to get a lot of chances in this game. He's the ball's going to get dumped to him quite a bit. I feel like our secondary is pretty good at covering. Yeah. So if he has to, he'll just dump the ball. And they're very similar to the 49ers where they design plays that are going to be passed to Eckler. So I think he's gonna have a good game.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Same thing for me with Tyson, man. One of the concerns with him coming into the draft was he did have a lot of interceptions in college, but I think last week he kind of showed like, hey, I can get the ball out fast and take care of the ball. Honestly, just doing that, staying ahead of the chains, no negative plays, no sacks, will keep them in the game. Just that alone. I think the Chargers are going to play up a lot more. They're going to press. They're going to make Tyson make difficult throws. Can he do that? I don't know. Like I said, we really haven't seen it. But at the very least, just take care of the ball. Don't throw pick sixes. Don't get fumbles. Don't throw interceptions. Just at the very least, know that you can punt the ball away, right?
Yep.
That's what I want to see from him, and that same comfortable swagger that he had last week. As far as a prediction for the game, I've been going back and forth with it all day. I could see it going two ways. I could see it being like a low-key shootout, like 24-31 type of deal, or I could see it being a really ugly game, like 17-14. So I'm going to go somewhere in the middle. I think Chargers do win 24-21 on the last second field goal.
Ooh.
I don't know why, but I'm kind of like feeling that there. And I think Tyson plays well, but a turnover will like be the ultimate deciding factor. As far as my fantasy star of the game, I hate to go with the same person, but I think Austin's going to feast, man.
Yep.
The defense has been good against the run, especially because compared to last year, this might be like the biggest jump in the league. Like I think the Bears are top 10 in rush defense right now.
Yeah, I think they're 6.
They're high, man.
Yeah.
But what I will say to go against that is we haven't really faced a good running back either.
Right.
The only one we did face was Aaron Jones, and we saw what he did.
Cooked us.
Hooked us. Shit. So if you put Austin Eckler in that, hopefully that doesn't happen. But based off of what history tells us, they have trouble with agile running backs, and Austin Eckler is like one of the best in the game. He would be my fantasy play of the week.
Yeah, I could definitely understand why. I mean, we've seen Austin Eckler year in and year out. He just doesn't see. He's another guy with a high motor who plays a lot of downs.
Yeah, he's a beast, man. He can do it all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, this is a Bears podcast. We're Bears fans. We're hoping for a Bears win, but I got last week wrong. I think you picked the Vegas last week too.
Yeah, I got it wrong too.
But so I'm not falling for this shit. I've seen it too many times. I'm going Chargers this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go Chargers. Unfortunately, I thought that they had a really good chance against the Raiders. I don't know. There's something about the Chargers to me that I don't know. I feel like they'll lose this game.
Yeah, I mean they're just more powerful, man. And I don't know if there's a week of game tape out there now. There's a week of a lot of dump offs. There's a week of hey, they want to run first out there now. So if the Chargers play a lot of people in that box, and Derwin James is playing, right? He's not hurt.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's playing.
So you have an elite safety, you have an elite ends on each side. Like, I don't know, but the Chargers are coming in on a 2-game losing streak. The Bears are coming in winning 2 of their last 3. So momentum is a thing in this league, man.
It is very much so. So there is a possibility. I mean, I'll never say that they're out of it. They'll never be out of it. I think everything depends on how the game goes. If the Bears go up, they have a chance to win because they can grind out the clock.
Mm-hmm.
They want to run, so the clock will be moving. If they go down, we're going to see what Badgent's really made of. Yeah. And then we'll really be talking the following week about what we really think of because if they go down and they win because of him, he balls out, we're really going to be talking about what's going to happen with Fields.
Yeah, not to go too far into that, but last game he only had 162 yards passing and 1 touchdown, like nothing to set the world on fire. But it's just the way it looked. If they go down in LA against a Pro Bowl quarterback and he lights it up, next week is going to be some shit.
Oh man, Chicago's going to be going crazy,
going insane.
Yeah, so I mean, if that happens, what do you do, Mike? You start Fields when he comes back? Because
I
I
don't.
feel like you should.
I, I I feel like either way.